The perception that Miami football will suck forever, the U is never going to be back, frustrates the hell out of me, because based off this logic, Texas shouldn't be as good as what they've been over the past 3 years when they've made it to the semifinals of the college football playoffs. Because remember, at one point, they were one of the most dominant programs in all of college football. Then they had a stretch when they made a bunch of bad hires and they were irrelevant in terms of the national championship conversation, and all of a sudden they hire Steve Sarkisian, and look where they are now, a favorite to win it all. Miami has too many resources. They are located in too rich of a recruiting hotbed to never again be able to compete for a national championship. If you are one of the people that scream out every time Miami fan expects for their squad to be good, that you're overrating the Canes like always, you're being incredibly disingenuous. Miami fans, I am one, have a reason to be optimistic about their team every year. Because if we're being honest, Miami has been just as good, if not more talented, than what Clemson has been in this conference for the past half a decade. But what has held Miami back from winning the ACC is that they whiffed on a bunch of head coaching hires, and they haven't really been able to get their ducks in a row when it comes to recruiting and NIL until recently. From a talent standpoint, Miami has already shown the potential to win this conference when they went to the ACC championship in their second season under Mark Richt and lost to Clemson. The issue that holds Miami back is coaching. When Miami finds the right head coach, and maybe Mario Cristobal is that guy, Miami will be back in the national championship conversation. Folks that hate on Miami and have the perception that the U is going to be down forever seem to overlook how easy it can be for Miami to be right back dominating college football like what they were during the 90s, the 80s, and the early start of the 2000s. And I'm not one of those Miami fans that always thinks that Miami is going to be back. I'm being honest about this year's team. I think that Miami goes 9-3, but at the same time, the potential is that they could go undefeated, win the ACC, and win a few playoff games. That is not unrealistic. It is not unrealistic to expect for Miami to be a great team this year when this is the best team that Miami has had in a very long time. And it seems as if Miami fans say that every single year, but it kind of is the truth. Miami recruiting has done nothing but gotten better every single season. The quarterback play has been really good. Hell, Miami just had the first overall pick in the NFL draft, Cam Ward. Miami has the talent to compete. It's just the coaching that has held this team back. And that's the same situation for a bunch of other former blue blood programs like Nebraska, USC, Florida, who have been down for a while. It's not as if they don't have the talent to compete, but it's the problem with them being able to hire the right coaches. Miami might finally have the right head coach in Mario Cristobal. As low as what I am on Mario Cristobal due to my lack of faith and his game management abilities, the brother is an awesome recruiter. He always seems to be able to win the big games. The issue that has plagued Miami is that they play down the competition too much. They are unable to beat the teams that they are supposed to beat. When they were undefeated at one point in 2017 and they looked like a sure thing to get into the playoffs, what did they do the final month of November? They had a few upset losses, including a devastating one to Pitt with Kenny Pickett at quarterback as a freshman, I believe. That's kind of been the epitome of Miami football. You get hyped up, they play good throughout the majority of the regular season, but they're unable to finish through the finish line. You ever ran sprints during football conditioning? If you played in high school or any level and your coach is screaming at you, finish through the line, but you don't finish through the line, so you got 10 extra wind sprints to do. That's what happens to Miami football. Anytime they look like they truly are about to stamp that they are back, they end up kind of fizzling out. But this season, that could change this year. You have a serviceable quarterback in Carson Beck, which, contrary to popular belief, Carson Beck can still play good football. And it's disingenuous to put all of Georgia's shortcomings last season on Carson Beck. What irritates the hell out of me is how people call Georgia leading the nation in drops, having inconsistent offensive line play, not being able to run the football effectively, excuses for Carson Beck's play, when it's not excuses. It's just the God honest truth. What the hell do you want the brother to do when the wide receivers have butterfingers for hands and they essentially should be playing defensive back with how they struggle to catch the freaking football? Georgia was beat up on the line of scrimmage. They didn't have the quality depth that they used to have in years past. And they couldn't run the football neither. They had one of the worst rushing attacks in the SEC last year. But because Carson Beck plays for Miami, though, he has to be the scapegoat for all of Georgia's woes on offense last year. As if there weren't Georgia fans all season long that were screaming, Kirby needs to get rid of Todd Monken. As if Georgia fans didn't want Todd Monken's head cut off and served on a silver platter. But because Carson Beck plays for Miami, though, oh, he's not good. Oh, he's trash. But if he played for anybody else, if Carson Beck would have stayed at Georgia, then everybody would have been saying how he was going to have a bounce-back season. If Carson Beck would have went elsewhere, everybody would have been singing his praises, how he was in a bad situation last year. But because he plays for Miami, though, people want to hate on him and say that he sucks. He's sorry. Carson Beck is going to bounce back this year. Miami has one of the best offensive lines in college football with a really good crop of wide receivers. And Mario Cristobal spent that bag in the transfer portal to bring in a loaded portal class with really good defensive backs, which was the Achilles heel of Miami's defense last year, the secondary been unable to stop a nosebleed. Everything that went wrong for Miami last year has somewhat been corrected. The only thing that could stop Miami from winning their first ACC title this year is Mario Cristobal, just like how it's been the last 2 decades with the cycle of coaches that they've been through. They just can't get the right head coach down there in Coral Gables. But if they finally have the right guy and Mario Cristobal, Miami can easily be back. It's not delusional or unrealistic to believe that Miami is finally going to be back every single season when the talent is always there for that to happen. It's just that the coaching hasn't been there. But you can't expect for a program like Miami, in the location that they are in, with the amount of resources and NIL money that they have available, to continue to suck forever. That's just not going to happen.